Welcome back, valued viewers, and welcome back to the channel, yeah. Alright, so what we're doing this week is a little bit different than normal. Like I mentioned quite a while back, I built a big combination farm. It's a raid farm, iron farm, with a giant villager trading hall on the top. And before people start, getting crazy in the comment section below, yes, I did see that old guy made a video recently. I haven't seen it, but somebody from Serial Craft actually showed me in the Discord. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely posted it months ago in Serial Craft, so I don't know. I'll have to have a look at it. His is probably way better than mine. You should probably definitely go to his channel instead, but let's get into this. Julia.
Okay, I don't mean to, I don't know how to break this to you, but they seem like they may be pleasure pigs, like they're being kept in for a reason.
Genome from the future saying, yes, you're completely right. This was a stupid idea. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to find an outpost, right? And then go up to this top floor. And then you want to take either glass panes or steel bars. I'm going to use iron bars. And then you want to just go one block up from the floor and just fill the entire area with them. And so the reason you do this is pretty common knowledge. It's the fact that the mobs actually spawn on one corner of a block. I don't remember the direction of that corner, but it's the positive X, positive Z direction. So anyway, and then you move at least, just move around 30 blocks away, wait for something to spawn in, and then remove all the bars or panes that are not holding in the mobs, the raid mobs. These guys, the outpost mobs. They're not raid mobs, but they're, you know what I mean. Alright, so then just remove all of these, and then you can see that they're standing on the corner of 4 different blocks. And the one that you want to keep, you want to remove the 3 that are not in the positive X, positive Z direction. See? Positive Z, positive X. Then you can either remove the floor like I did or not, but this is where the Trident Killer is going to be. So these guys will spawn, fall down, get killed in the Trident Killer. And then directly above that is where you're going to want your raid farm Trident Killer, and where the iron golems are also going to die, and the cats. Lots and lots of cats. Very many cats. So anyway, let's go ahead and pillar up from there using scaffolding. And keep in mind that later you're going to want to move this scaffolding somewhere better, because this is definitely going to be in the way in your down there in the where those guys are spawning in. And what the heck is this? Okay. Bedrock. Anyway, and then you want to pillar up to a distance that allows for your guys down there to spawn in, fall into the Trident Killer, and be near the edge of spawning distance. So you don't want them to despawn, but you want you want as few mobs as possible to be inside spawning radius, right? So you don't want like the ground to be inside of your spawning sphere. So for a simulation distance of 4, which is what realms are, and I think a lot of multiplayer servers are going to be that as well. Around 40 is what works really well. So we're at 115, and down there is 75. But if you're using a different simulation distance, you'll need to adjust that. So over the side that the guys down there are, you're going to want to make a little stone or some kind of platform. At this point, it doesn't really matter. You should probably use solid blocks so you don't have to replace anything later, but it needs to be big enough that you can have a 2x2 area for a trident killer, and then 2 thick walls, like 2 block thick walls on 3 sides, and then a 1 thick glass wall on the side where you're going to be AFKing so you can see inside. So, and then just make those walls around it. Yeah, I think I did 1 too few there. Anyway, and then make your 2 wide glass wall in the front, and then pillar up with your other blocks, with your solid blocks on the other sides, so that it roughly looks like this. Yeah, so the height that you want to go is actually, I don't really have a way of figuring out what it actually is. It seems to be kind of random. I'll explain it later. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going 13 blocks up. So you can do that, and it should work. In this actual recording, it didn't, but it should work, and I'll explain later why that is. But yeah, so just make your 2 wide walls with this drop chute here, and then you're gonna actually make another layer of glass in just a second. Let me just finish this one up, and then yeah, so then 1 more layer of glass, but not where you're standing at the bottom, right? And then just pillar those up to the top. And then remove the top 2 because you want to actually have things be able to spawn here. So up here on top, you're going to have a platform that's 8 blocks from the drop chute in every direction. But if you're building this before 17.30 release, then you're going to want to go down 4 blocks from that top layer and make a second layer. And the reason that you don't need to do it if you're doing this after 17.30 is because they changed the iron golem spawning to where it doesn't really matter to have the second layer. So basically just the 1 layer is fine. And you could actually do that in the early versions before 17.30. You could actually just skip this step entirely. Like, it probably improves your rates a bit with the iron farm, but it shouldn't make any difference on the raid farm at all. And then we'll come back to this. Right, so on the top layer, you want to go 8 blocks out, and then on the 9th block, you want to actually make a 3 high wall. So you can see I already did some of this. So 8, 9 is here, and then just wall this in. So then it'll be like this. Then put 1 in each corner, like whoop, so. Yeah, at the bottom. And then we can go ahead and put the water in now, so that while we're doing the rest of it, we don't spawn a bunch of mobs, like zombies and skeletons and whatnot. So you want to actually spam the water all along the wall, except for the block right next to the blocks in the corner, so you don't get, water sources all the way across the thing. You want flowing water. And it's 8 blocks to the drop chute, so this should go straight to the edge of the drop chute like that. Yeah, and that's what this looks like. So for now, ignore that bottom layer because, like I said, you probably don't need to make it, but I will tell you how and the dimensions and everything later. But right now, what you want to do is get the trading hall going. So what you want to do here is put leaves down. You want to go 4 blocks out with leaves all the way around it. Yeah, so I'm using oak leaves. You'll probably want to use like jungle leaves are my favorite because they're really easy to get, right? Because jungle tree, you can make the giant jungle trees. So anyway, just fill it 4 blocks, 4 leaf blocks out all the way around, just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll be right back when it's filled in. All right. So once it's filled in like that, what you want to do is start making the places where the villagers are going to go. So we're going to go every one apart like this, and then you want to go 2 up and then 1 over the top in the middle, right? Like this. So basically making a little leaf house for our villagers that we'll be trading with. And you want to do this all the way around, and it'll be 10 of the little houses on each side. So you'll have 40 total spaces for villagers. That's a lot. And then when that's done, what you want to do is you want to put 1 up here, like this, all the way around. And what this is going to do is actually keep the raid spawns from spawning on top of, and you can fill in the corners too, by the way, but it keeps the raids from spawning on top of the workstations of the villagers in your trading hall. So yeah, just bring this all the way around like this. Next, you're going to want to get your villagers into these spots, right? And what you're going to want to do is put a temporary block in front of them to keep them in. So I'm going to use the stairs. When you do it, you're going to want to put the villagers first into the spots and then put the temporary blocks, obviously. But I'm going to spawn them in using a spawn egg, so I'm just going to put them all in really quick all at once. So while I try to figure out how to get villagers in using spawn eggs, when you put yours in, what I recommend is that you actually just keep some breeding up here. And then at night, once the beds are in, they'll actually move to toward the beds. And they'll go into these slots. So that actually works. You could also, use mine carts, or I mean, there's a lot of different things you could do. Mine carts would work just great. You could just put some solid blocks on top of the leaves and mine cart rails, and just have a little breeder somewhere temporarily. And again, you don't have to fill all of these in at once. I'm going to, just so that I can see some iron golems for the video, but you could easily just do this, a few villagers at a time. Like for the first part, you could just have like 10 villagers, and it'll work just fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, and then so you just get them into these spots, and then trap them with the temporary blocks, and get rid of any of these. These are garbage. Yeah, and those babies are gonna get out and just go everywhere. So yeah, there's one. That was dumb. Anyway, then you put trapdoors on top of each of your temporary blocks. Okay, and that's serving 2 purposes. One, it's going to keep them in while you replace the temporary block underneath with a workstation later. And the other thing that it does is that it makes it so that there's no space between your workstation block and the leaf block above. Because if there's a space, then the on all of those, then the I just want to test this water thing real quick. Anyway, if there's a space, the raids can spawn on top of the workstations. So anytime you add anything in here, there's got to be leaves, or a series of blocks and then leaves on top. And so, yeah, after you've done that, what you want to do is put down a workstation. Oh, wait, no, this is not going to work because we haven't done the beds. So let's do the beds. So you'll first want to pillar up by 3 blocks, and then make a wait, is it 3 blocks or 4 blocks? It should be 3 blocks. So 3 blocks, and then make a platform. So this platform should be wide enough for 6 beds, and then or not 6 beds, sorry, 3 beds, so 6 blocks. So 6 blocks by 6 blocks, centered over the drop chute, and then you you'll want to add 2 blocks in the middle of each side, like this. Here and here, here and here, here and here, and here and here. And then you're going to fill this entire platform with beds. Okay, and that's going to be the center of the village, those first 2. But just in case anything changes, I like to put these ones in first, with the pillows facing the middle, because the pillows become the center of the village. So if anything changes, it's more likely to switch to, something closer to the center. So then just fill that all up with beds, and then you can break all the blocks underneath. And then we'll do the next layer of beds, because this is only a little bit more than half of them. And so, yeah, we'll go do the other part down here. So, one down from that top layer, you're going to want to make a platform that doesn't get in the way of the drop chute. And if you don't do this bottom layer, and again, we'll come back to it later, if you don't do this bottom layer, then it will put the beds in, kind of stuck into the drop chute, and that's perfectly fine. So, yeah, you can do that. Don't worry about it. And so it'll either be like this, floating above the bottom layer, or it will be in the side of the drop chute. And then you, again, it's 1 ring, 2 wide all the way around, and then 2 extra beds to make 18 down here and 22 above, which is 40 beds in total. And so just cover this with beds. Again, I'm doing the same pattern that I did up top, but it doesn't really matter. Just fill it with beds. And this corner is the last corner. Add this one, the one left on the other side, and then just remove all the blocks underneath. Okay, so now comes the fun part. What you want to do is you want to put down a workstation like that, and then find the guy that changed, break the workstation, break the temporary block, and then put water against that back block that's part of the wall. And you can go, it's actually pretty easy if you, yeah. Okay, you don't actually have to hit them normally. I'm just not doing this properly. I should probably, yeah, there we go. If you close the thing, then do it, and then put the workstation back, and then you should change back. Yep. And then you just do this for the rest of them. Yeah? Okay, so then you're going to want to come back down to where your trident killer is going to be. And I put a block there just to make it light in here. And then you're going to want to dig out kind of everything but where the actual trident killer center is going to be. And then you're going to want to build your trident killer. So not there. You're going to want to put your first piston there. And then in each of these, the 3 corners on this right side and the back one on the left side, you're going to put droppers, but you want a solid block beneath each of your pistons, like that, and then an observer facing a dropper in the corner, like that, and then so another solid block, temporary block in this corner, observer facing that temporary block, you can break that temporary block, and then put a dropper in that corner, an observer facing that dropper, then a solid block behind that observer, another dropper in this corner, and then an observer facing that dropper, and then a solid block there. Then you're going to want to put a repeater in this corner, but you can't put a solid block there or the raids can spawn on it, and you can't put leaves there because let me grab a repeater here, and so you can't place them. It doesn't place on leaves, so what you got to do is you got to move your make a scaffolding arm that reaches to there. So you just move your scaffolding platform to here. Make sure that you do this after the scaffolding platform is moved to where you actually want it finally. Remember that we put at the beginning we put it in a different place than we probably want it, because when we build the trident killer down below, this all the scaffolding is going to be in the way, so we're going to have to move it. So make sure that you have the scaffolding where from the bottom to up here where you want it in the end. Okay, and then that's that, and then you just fill back in the walls with the solid blocks. But first, put a piece of scaffolding right here with a piece of redstone dust on it. If I can just remember where redstone dust is. There it is. Put one redstone dust right there on that scaffolding, and then put a lever here for your on-off switch. Okay, then it's off. Now we can fill the walls back in with solid blocks like they were. All the spots with solid blocks like it was. And then 2 blocks up from the pistons, you want to break out those three solid blocks from the drop chute, and then you want to put signs in these places. One sec. These places here. So one sign here, and then a sign here, and a sign here. And then you're going to put lava in that one, like that. And this is going to do 2 things. It's going to kill the iron golems, and it's going to keep the Ravengers from falling into the bottom of here. Because if the Ravengers fall in here, pretty much the Trident Killer will shove them through the walls eventually. It seems to be completely unavoidable. And then eventually we're going to waterlog that piston in that back corner. And then go down right here and place a stair upside down just like that. And that'll let your XP come out. So now you're going to want to go down below, and then below one of the droppers there, you're going to want to put another dropper facing outward, and then feed your hoppers into it, and no, not there. Put hoppers under the Trident Killer like this. They're 1 block down from the actual floor of the Trident Killer, because you need to have leaves in here. And the reason that you need leaves in the bottom is because otherwise the raids can spawn down here, and then you get Ravengers and the Trident Killer shoves them through the walls. So in order to get the drops down into the hoppers and off of this piston when the Trident Killer is off, we're going to need to put hopper minecarts. and that's a complicated process. So, yeah, let me show you how to do it. So first, you want to get a hopper minecart in that spot that I just broke the uh, rail for, and then so you build the rail like it was with one piece of leaves and the opposite spot there, and then break the rails, put the leaves, and then get a hopper minecart here somewhere. Yeah, they put them in a sub list, right? So, yeah, we don't need pistons anymore. Alright, so drop a hopper minecart there and then break the rail. Okay. Break the rail. No. Break the rail. Okay. You know what? Maybe I can just, maybe I can just shove it in. Let's see. So if I go